Hey, this is Bradley Chubb, and you're listening to The Snap.
Hey, this is Cortland Sutton,
Hey, this is Tim Patrick.
and you're listening to The Snap
With Sidney Jones
on Broncos.
Podcast Network. Yeah.
What's up, Broncos country, and happy holidays. Thanks so much for joining me on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube for another edition of The Snap. I'm your host, Sidney Jones, and joining me today is Erin Coscarelli, on-air host for the Las Vegas Raiders. Erin, so nice to see you. Appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to, have a little chat about a big game coming up this weekend.
Absolutely. Happy to have you. You mentioned it. Huge game this weekend. Broncos are set to hit the road for Vegas on Christmas Day. Erin, are you gearing up for the holidays? Finished wrapping all your gifts yet? I haven't.
Oh, no. Nope. Definitely doing all the last minute shopping. I definitely got a late start, but that's okay. And it's a winter wonderland here in Los Angeles. I live here part-time. So just trying to navigate it all. It's been a crazy season, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I can't even believe that it's already the end of December. What, week 16? It's only 3 games left.
I know.
Well, with only 3 games left for both of these teams to try and secure a playoff spot here, both the Broncos and Raiders are sitting at 7-7. Both need to win out. What's kind of the mindset for the team right now? What's their confidence level heading into this weekend's game?
Sid, I honestly think this has been the craziest year for the Raiders, but really for any franchise with what they've had to deal with, and Derek Carr being the face of the franchise. I think he's handled it mightily. So you could throw anything at this team right now, and I think they can handle it because of just everything that they've been through. Adversity has been the theme of the year. And honestly, I really do have to tip my cap off to Derek Carr with the way he has handled everything with such grace. And to be sitting at 7-7, and like you said, both teams right now still have playoff potential as we kind of get through the stretch of the end of the season here. So I would say the mindset is like, just bring it on. Like, the Raiders are ready, a huge division rival in the Broncos. A bummer about Teddy Bridgewater because I just think that guy is such a class act. I even though he's a division rival, I have such respect for him and what he's been able to go through in terms of his own adversity. So I'm super bummed about what happened with Teddy, but this will be a clash, and I know you guys are going to bring your A game no matter what.
I'm so glad you said that, Erin, because no matter who I have on this podcast or no matter what team we're facing, this weekend, no one has a bad thing to say about Teddy. Everyone has the most, utmost respect for him. And it's so great to see because, everyone here in Denver loves Teddy, and it's great to see that he makes that impact across the league. And, Sunday was really scary with his injury, like you mentioned. We're all just happy that he's doing well now.
Yeah. A tough break right now, especially with where you guys are sitting at to lose the leader of that, the locker room in terms of the on-field implications. It's such a bummer, but I know Drew Lock is still a competitor, and I don't think that the Raiders are attempting to strategize this game any differently than who is at obviously the quarterback position. So it's still going to be a competitive game no matter who's throwing the ball.
For sure. Always is against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Derek Carr and company, they put up 34 points against the Broncos in their first meeting this year. And that was a season high allowed for this Broncos defense. And, I know Derek Carr, he has been pretty aggressive, in his approach, especially against the Browns Monday night. Do you think we'll see that from him, come Sunday?
I think we have to. I think, Derek Carr isn't going to play shy. We can't afford to play shy. We need to put up the points. We've struggled with it, obviously. The second half of the season, after starting, I want to say 5-2, they've regressed a little bit in terms of their aggressiveness. I know losing the deep threat in Henry Ruggs was a challenge, and it's been a challenge to find ways to mitigate his loss. But, Zay Jones, we've got Foster Moreau. We may not have Darren Waller. I don't know when you're airing this interview, but, we don't know necessarily all the injuries. So just like the Broncos, the Raiders are dealing with their own setbacks. And I think that you just have to plan to put it all out there, because we cannot lose another game, just like you guys cannot lose another game. Like this is playoff style football right now here in December. So I imagine Derek Carr is going to try to go after it like he, always does.
Right. You mentioned the Raiders' inability to put up points. I mean, you guys were held to 16 points or fewer for the 8th time on Monday against the Browns, and that's tied for the most in the league. You mentioned some of those guys on offense. Is there someone in particular that you want to see step up, for Vegas' offense in order to get some more points on the board?
Great question, because I think that has been the key to our success, is putting up a lot of points. It's certainly something that they were doing earlier in the season, and I think Derek Carr misses that deep threat. With that being said, I think in the event Darren Waller is still out, dealing with his own set of injuries, I think I hope we see more out of Foster Moreau, a wonderful tight end with capabilities to make some damage happen in the red zone. So, I think an overall, in my opinion, I want to see us be able to score more points, score more often, score sooner. So I'm looking at the big guy. I'm looking at the tight end, Foster Moreau, in the event he fits in case Darren Waller is out. That's a guy I'm looking to see make some noise, hopefully, in the red zone.
Well, it won't be easy going up against this stout Denver defense, who's really been playing phenomenal within recent weeks. But, Erin, in terms of, the Raiders defense, I mean, Vegas is, throughout the season, they've pretty much struggled with the run, for the most part of the season, but they did find a lot of success, against the Browns on Monday. Do you think they'll be able to continue that and, hold off Denver's 1-2 punch they have with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams?
I would say it was really promising to be able, I want to say the Browns run offense is 4th best. Obviously, Nick Chubb can do some serious damage. And so, yes, absolutely. We respect the heck out of your guys' run game. That 1-2 punch is something that Gus Bradley is going to try to effectively, stop if he can. So, yes, promising to see what we were able to do in Cleveland when we knew they were going to run the ball a lot. So hopefully we can continue that momentum back home in Las Vegas. We'll see.
Well, the Raiders, they have a pretty banged up secondary right now. I mean, Trayvon Mullen, he was placed on IR not too long ago. And then I saw that safety, Jonathan Abram, he suffered a season-ending shoulder injury Monday night. How do you think the secondary is going to be able to hold up, without 2 starters like those guys against this Broncos offense that is really hoping to get that passing game going?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be all the more important to emphasize our front 7 and really put pressure on Drew Lock, so we can get him to make mistakes. Because you're absolutely right. We've been dealing with a banged up secondary. This isn't the first season. We had to deal with it last year as well. So a big bummer to lose Jonathan Abram. He is so physical. He makes his presence known in the secondary. So we're for sure going to miss him. But hopefully our front 7, our guys on the edge, they can make some noise happen and maybe cause some turnovers. We'll see.
Sure. Well, Erin, appreciate your insight and Raiders' perspective to this matchup, but just want to switch gears a little bit here. As many of my listeners know, one of my main goals here on the Snap is to highlight amazing women in and around the NFL. So just want to learn a little bit more about what your current role with the Raiders entails. What does your day-to-day look like?
I love that question. And I love that is a priority for you to move the ball forward and talk about the many amazing women involved in the NFL, whether it's broadcast or behind the camera. I just love our group text message, all the women that are a part of that. It's like such a freaking cool sisterhood to be a part of. And I feel so grateful. And not to go too far on a different subject, but when I lost my dad, all of you ladies put together in such a union in sending my mom and I some really supportive, loving things. Like it meant so much to me to be seen by my female sisterhood. So grateful to you guys for just doing that, because I think women are big fans of the NFL and they deserve representation too. So I love being a part of the Silver and Black. I am so honored to be a part of Raider Nation. They've treated me so incredibly well, especially too during this challenging time where I needed to take some time off and not cover the Raiders. And they handled it and really made me feel like we got it covered. Don't worry about it, Erin. And I really appreciate that. So to be a part of the Raider legacy in helping tell the stories of these young men and what they have gone through, like this season being unprecedented, if you will. It's been a journey, and I wouldn't want to do it with any other team. I'm like so grateful that I work with the Raiders. I host their pre and post game shows, and I absolutely love it. I really love it. I'm so fortunate that I get to be, just like for you, as I know you love being a part of Broncos Nation.
Yeah.
It really is so cool that during such a weird year, we're still covering the NFL. We still have games that we're watching despite all this stuff that's going on with COVID. And I'm really grateful. It's just an honor.
It truly is. It's different being a part of a team because you actually do feel like you are part of the team. Like, you pass these guys in the cafeteria, you know them on a personal level. And like you said, we get the honor of telling their stories.
It really is. And I love this job because you're absolutely right. We are part of a team. And although I want to cover it in a unbiased way, obviously secretly, I want the Raiders to just win it all. That would be great. But being a part of this team and navigating the rough waters with them, it does make you feel like you're part of something.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Well, Erin, not only are you a host for the Raiders, but also ABC's The Ultimate Surfer. And so many more other things that you've done in your career. Can you kind of walk me through the path that you took to get to where you are today with these incredible roles that you have?
It's so funny, Sydney. I would say I went to USC, so I was able to cover the USC football team during, arguably their most exciting time. Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, they were all on the team when I was a sophomore or a junior there. And that was really where I got my love of this business. And so it's two things for me. Obviously, I love sports. I grew up playing sports. My dad put me in all kinds of sports, my mom and dad both. But then it's the person on the other side. It's the fan who wants to learn more. And so we are given such a gift of being able to do storytelling and bring to the fan base such a true, authentic story of what's really going on and try to be transparent. It's just absolutely what I love. And so, yes, I did The Ultimate Surfer with Kelly Slater, which I grew up in SoCal. That was like probably the coolest thing ever. And it's just, for me, I kind of knew I loved this business the first moment I stepped on a football field and I started covering USC, their football team, because I was like, this is it. This is really, for me, this is it. I love people, I love sports, and I love storytelling. So like, why not combine all of them? And then in the process, I get to do these very cool, fun things. It's just a pinch me moment. It's a pinch me moment. Like right now, I get to be across from you talking football with Sydney ahead of the Broncos Raiders games. This is like, it's not lost on me how fortunate I am. Yeah.
I feel the same way. Truly. Erin, throughout all the experiences you've had, not only in this industry, but like you mentioned, the other industries that you're in, all along with television, were there any really challenges that you kind of faced to get to where you are today? And, if so, how did you overcome those? I know.
Massive. Were there challenges? That is a beautiful question, because I think that is where we realize our true potential is how do we navigate the challenges, right? Like take, for instance, the Raiders, the storylines within the Raiders, Max Crosby going to the Pro Bowl, Darren Waller. His story is so beautiful because of his challenges. We now have a face of someone we can relate to who's gone through the stuff. And now we're like, oh, I feel less alone. So like, when you ask me a question about my challenges, do I get so excited to talk about them? Absolutely. My flaws are my badge of honor because of the stuff that I've gone through, and I'm super transparent. I mean, I was just telling you about a doctor that I was seeing because I struggle with anxiety. And it's like, I want to fix it so bad, but at the same time, it is who I am. And
Right.
like, if I can put a face, absolutely, if I can put a face to what is a stigma, I'll take it. I'll take it all day long, because maybe it might help a younger woman who doesn't know what this is. Because like, I didn't know I had anxiety until Carson Daly went on the Today Show, and then I Googled it, and I'm like, oh,
That's what
I've
it
had
is.
this all along. Oh my God, it makes so much sense. So yes, challenges galore. I mean, like, I think being a woman in sports is very challenging. I think we need to be perceived as smarter than even our male counterpart, because if we mess up a name or a pronunciation, guess what? We don't know enough about football, right? So those are things that I'm okay with. And I just want to keep continuing to talk about my challenges, to talk about my story, so that hopefully I inspire a younger generation, just like you do, just like I think our group women's text chain inspires me so much. I want to try to continue to do that for like younger people,
That's what this podcast is about too. So kind of going off of that, last question for you here, Erin. What's one piece of advice you'd give, the younger generation, someone looking to get in the industry right now, or someone looking to take their next big leap or jump?
It's something that I give myself advice about every day. And I think I wish I could have told my 20-year-old self this when I was starting out, but you don't really know who you are until you grow up a little bit more, right? But I would say the advice I would give is, I think fans want more authenticity. I think fans want more transparency. So just this, like, taking the things that I'm insecure about and really talking about them makes me stronger and makes me actually more secure. So I would give younger people advice. I would tell them, try to really hone in on your authentic self. And it is a journey, because it takes time for us to know who we really are. Obviously I'm so much more different than I was 10 years ago, but now I'm like, but let me tell you something, Sydney. 10 years ago, I would need to know every question that you were going to ask me. I would be like, send me the questions so I can study them, because I don't want to sound like a ridiculous, So now I'm like, nope, I'm going to give you the answer that I feel like I want to give, and I'm okay with that. And you're obviously okay, with whatever I say. Absolutely. So I think at the end of the day, it's like really being more authentic with who we are and really loving ourselves. And I think as a generation, we need to give ourselves a little bit of a breather and a little bit of a break, and really, love each other a little bit more. So, yeah.
I love that. That is great advice. And honestly, what I needed to hear right now. So thank you.
Yay! Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
I so appreciate you taking the time to join me today. Truly such a pleasure just getting to talk with you. And I can't wait to see you on Sunday at the game.
I cannot wait to. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think as we get older, we realize time is our most expensive currency. So this means a lot. So thank you, Sydney.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of The Snap. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe holiday weekend with your friends and family. I appreciate you all for tuning into this week's episode. Don't forget to meet me right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube next Friday for another episode. I'll see you all then.